Husband made hurtful comments about my weight during my entire pregnancy and refused to be in the labor room. Then one day after I gave birth, he asked when I was going to lose all the weight. So I planned my escape before leaving divorce papers on the table. My husband has been behaving very badly with me and I need advice on how to deal with him. This year, I gave birth to our beautiful baby girl. While bringing her into the world was an incredible moment, the journey to get there was not easy. Pregnancy was tough on my body and emotions. I went through a lot physically, and I also felt overwhelmed and tired most of the time. Now that our daughter is here, I've come to realize that being a first-time mom is even more difficult than I expected. It's a constant challenge, and I often feel like I'm carrying the weight of it all on my own, because, sadly, my husband hasn't done anything to help me. To give some background, my husband and I have been married for 4 years. When we first got together, we talked about our hopes for the future, and one thing we both agreed on was wanting to have children. But when I finally became pregnant, things didn't go the way I thought they would. Instead of being excited or supportive, my husband seemed upset and distant. He kept saying that he wasn't ready to be a father just yet. That hurt, especially because this was something we had planned together. It also confused me because he's already in his late 30s, not exactly young anymore, while I just turned 31 this year. I didn't expect him to react that way, and ever since then, it feels like I've been going through this whole experience mostly by myself. I sat down with him and made things very clear. I told him that if he truly didn't want to have a child, then that was his choice, but I wasn't going to beg him to stay or try to convince him to be a father if he didn't want to be one. I told him, calmly but firmly, that I would rather raise the baby on my own than stay in a relationship where I had to force him into parenthood. I meant it from the heart. I didn't want our child to grow up with a father who wasn't fully present or emotionally involved. But instead of understanding where I was coming from, he got extremely angry. He accused me of choosing the baby over him, and he even called me selfish. That hurt. I reminded him that what I was doing wasn't selfish, I was thinking about the well-being of our child and being honest about what I needed from him as a partner. If anything, his reaction felt immature and unfair. I also pointed out something that seems obvious to me: we're married, and we've been having unprotected sex regularly for years. So why is he acting so shocked that I got pregnant? It's not like this came out of nowhere. It was frustrating that he was putting all the blame on me, as if I planned this behind his back or forced it to happen. We were both responsible for our actions, yet he was treating me like I did something wrong just because I got pregnant. It was hard to accept that the man I married was reacting this way about such an important milestone in our lives. I couldn't take the emotional stress anymore, and I started packing my things, fully prepared to leave and stay with my parents for a while. I needed space, and I needed to protect my peace, for my own sake and for the baby's. When he saw how serious I was about leaving, something shifted. He came to me and apologized. He asked me not to go and said he needed some time to think everything through. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I agreed to give him that time, hoping he would really reflect on everything. About a week later, he came to me on his own. This time, his tone was different. He told me that after thinking long and hard, he realized that I was right. He admitted that while he was scared and unsure at first, he was also starting to feel excited about becoming a father and meeting our baby. Hearing those words brought so much relief. For the first time in a long while, I felt hopeful. I was genuinely happy that he was finally beginning to accept the reality of the pregnancy, not just accept it, but actually look forward to it. It felt like a small step forward, and I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, we could face parenthood together after all. During the first few months of my pregnancy, my husband seemed like a caring and attentive partner. Whenever he was home, he made an effort to look after me and made sure I was comfortable. It felt good to have that support, especially when everything was so new and overwhelming. But as time went on and my belly started to grow, things began to change. Like most expectant mothers, I found myself eating more than usual because I was not just eating for myself anymore, I was eating for two, to help our baby grow strong and healthy. However, instead of being understanding or supportive about this, my husband would often make comments about how surprised he was that I was eating so much. His tone made it feel like he thought I was being greedy or overeating, even though I was just following what my body needed. I tried to explain to him kindly and patiently that it was completely normal for pregnant women to eat more because their bodies need extra nutrition during this time. But no matter how many times I told him this, he never seemed to really believe me or accept it. His reactions made me feel judged and a little hurt, as if I was doing something wrong by taking care of myself and our baby. In the last few months of my pregnancy, my body changed a lot. I couldn't fit into my regular skinny clothes anymore, so I had to buy maternity clothes that were more comfortable and suited my growing belly. These clothes were different from what I was used to wearing, but they were necessary for my comfort and the baby's health. Unfortunately, my husband really didn't like them at all. He often made hurtful comments, saying things like I didn't look beautiful anymore and that he felt embarrassed walking beside me in public. Hearing those words broke my heart. Pregnancy is a time when most women hope to feel supported and loved, especially by their partners. Instead, his remarks made me feel ugly and unwanted. These comments didn't just hurt me, they caused a lot of tension between us. We ended up having arguments about it because I couldn't understand how he could say such things to me when I was doing something so natural and beautiful, growing our child. I wanted him to be proud and happy for me, but instead, I felt criticized and alone in my own body. It was painful, and it made me question if he truly cared about me during this important time. The day I went into labor was one of the most intense and emotional days of my life. I was scared but also ready to meet my baby. I wanted my husband to be by my side, supporting me through the pain and the whole experience. But when the time came, he told me he didn't want to be in the labor room with me. He said he was too scared of blood and gore and didn't think he could handle it. Instead, he wanted his mother, my mother-in-law, to be there during the delivery. I was shocked and immediately refused. There was absolutely no way I was going to allow his mother to see me in such a vulnerable and raw state. Labor is hard enough, and having someone there who I didn't feel comfortable with just made it worse. Instead, I asked for my own mother to be with me, someone I trusted completely and who I knew would be there to support me no matter what. Thankfully, they agreed to this. My mom stayed with me the entire night, holding my hand, comforting me, and making me feel safe. Even after I gave birth, she was there, making sure our baby girl was okay and helping me through those first exhausting hours. Having her there made a huge difference, and I am so grateful she was by my side when my husband couldn't be. The morning after I gave birth, my husband showed up with gifts and flowers. At first, I was surprised because he seemed so happy and excited about our baby girl. He couldn't stop smiling and kept wanting to hold her, clearly overwhelmed by this new chapter in our lives. For a moment, I let out a breath of relief. Despite all the difficulties we'd been through during my pregnancy and the way he had acted sometimes, it felt good to see that he was truly happy about our daughter's arrival. It gave me hope that maybe things could get better between us. But that hope didn't last very long. Not even a full day after giving birth, he made a joke that hurt me deeply. He asked if I was finally going to lose all the weight I had gained during the pregnancy. Even though he said it lightly, like it was just a joke, the words stung. I was just recovering from childbirth, my body was healing, and here he was making me feel self-conscious about how I looked. When I glared at him after his comment, he quickly tried to explain himself. He said he was just thinking about my health and that he wanted me to get back to how I looked before the pregnancy. But I wasn't having it. I told him firmly that I'm a mother now, and my body needed time to heal and recover from the trauma of giving birth. I reminded him that I wasn't a machine that could simply snap back to my old shape overnight. This was a huge change, physically and emotionally, and I needed his understanding and patience, not pressure. Instead of listening, he started complaining about how his mother was right, that women really do change after having a baby, and not always in ways men like. I looked at him, confused and hurt, and asked what exactly he meant by that. He went on to tell me that he and his mother had talked about my weight behind my back. He said that during their conversation, his mother had told him that all women gain weight and let themselves go after they get married, especially after having children. According to her, this happens because women get too comfortable in their marriages. She believed it was the husband's responsibility to keep their women in check and make sure they didn't let themselves go. Hearing this made my heart sink. But it got worse. My husband then said that this was exactly why he wanted to make sure I didn't let go and become fat and ugly like other women. He said he wanted me to lose all the weight and go back to being pretty again. Those words felt like a punch to the gut. Instead of seeing me as a mother who had just brought a new life into the world, he was judging me based on how I looked, repeating harmful ideas that his mother had planted in his mind. It hurt more than I can put into words to hear him talk about me like that, like I was only valuable if I looked a certain way. I was so shocked and upset by everything he said that I didn't even know how to respond. I just sat there, speechless, because I couldn't believe that he had talked about me like that, behind my back, no less, with his own mother. It felt like a betrayal, not just from him but from someone I hoped would support me. But what hurt me even more was knowing that his mother, a woman herself, was the one feeding him those hurtful and unfair ideas. I couldn't understand how she could say such disgusting things about women, especially about a woman who was carrying and giving birth to her grandchild. It made me feel so alone, like the people who were supposed to care about me the most were instead judging and criticizing me. It's been about a month since that painful conversation, but the way my husband talks about my body hasn't stopped. In fact, it feels like it's happening even more often now. I'm so tired, not just physically, but emotionally exhausted from constantly hearing his negative comments. Today was especially hard. He told me to go for a jog instead of laying in bed the whole day, and something inside me just snapped. I couldn't hold back my anger anymore, so I shouted back at him. I reminded him that it's me who stays up with the baby all through the night. I'm the one who feeds her, puts her to sleep, and wakes up every time she cries. I take care of her every single day, while he goes to work and doesn't have to face those constant demands. On top of everything that comes with being a new mom, I also cook, clean, do his laundry, and buy groceries. I do so much work that I barely have time to think about exercising, let alone actually go for a jog. I'm completely worn out, yet he acts like I'm just lying around doing nothing. He didn't take my frustration seriously. Instead, he said I was shouting at him for no reason and accused me of being overdramatic because of my female hormones. That made me feel even worse because not only is he ignoring how hard I'm working, but he's also dismissing my feelings and making me feel like I'm the problem here. It's like I'm invisible and my efforts don't matter at all. So Reddit Ida here? Update 1, clarifying a few things here. My husband doesn't do anything to help me, and that makes my life even harder. Before I got pregnant, I was working and managing my own life, but the pregnancy was so difficult that I couldn't keep up with my job. I had to stop working to focus on my health and the baby. During that time, my husband promised me he would take care of me, that he would be there to support me. I was hopeful and trusted him, maybe even foolish to rely on him so much, but that's why I'm still holding on and haven't left him. I know my parents would want to help me if I asked them, but I just had the baby recently, and I haven't even had the chance to process everything that's happened. It feels like I'm still trying to find my footing as a new mom while dealing with so many challenges in my marriage. The thought of starting over or making big changes right now feels overwhelming. On top of all this, I don't want my baby to grow up without a father. Even though my husband's behavior has been disappointing and hurtful, I've been holding on because I want my daughter to have both parents in her life. I hope that someday he will step up and be the father and partner we both need. For now, that hope is what keeps me going, even when things feel really tough. In the past, I did suggest to my husband to go to counseling a few times, but he wasn't open to it. He seemed uncomfortable talking about his feelings and avoided the subject altogether. So, I didn't push him further. Update 2, hello everyone, thank you so much to everyone who has left supportive and kind comments. It really means a lot to me during this difficult time. To those who keep telling me to just leave, please try to understand that it's not as simple as packing my bags and walking away, especially with a newborn baby in my arms. Although my parents can help, they aren't in the best financial situation, and I don't want to burden them even more by asking for money to support myself and the baby. I want to be independent and do this on my own if I can. So, instead of rushing into anything, I've been working on a plan. Please hear me out before making judgments. These past few days, I've been pretending to accept my husband's help with losing all the weight I gained during pregnancy. I've signed up for the gym on weekdays and Pilates classes on the weekends. Since I'll need someone to look after the baby while I'm out, his mother will be coming over to take care of her. In a way, she's going to be our free nanny. Meanwhile, I can manage to keep some time for myself and focus on healing and getting stronger. I figured, why not? After all, he is the one paying for everything right now, so I might as well make the most of it. I honestly think this could turn out to be a good deal for me. I get to go out, work out, and have some time to myself, all while he's footing the bill. Meanwhile, his mother will be looking after my daughter for free, so I don't have to worry about childcare costs. It's not perfect, but right now, it feels like a smart way to take care of myself and my baby without adding more stress. Sometimes, you have to make the best of the situation you're in. On top of everything else, I've also put my foot down and told my husband that he needs to pay for my therapy. I explained to him that I might be dealing with postpartum depression, and he agreed to cover the cost. Seeing the therapist has been a huge help for me. It's helping me come to terms with the reality of my abusive marriage and understand what I'm going through emotionally. I want to be clear, I will definitely be leaving my husband. But it won't be right away. I'm planning to do it on my own terms, when I'm stronger and have found my footing. For now, I'm focused on healing, getting support, and preparing myself for that next step. It's a slow process, but I'm determined to take control of my life and my future, for me and for my baby. Update 3, it's been almost 5 months since my last update, and a lot has changed. Right now, I'm in the process of separating from my ex. Like I mentioned before, I stayed in that relationship longer than I wanted to, but only so I could make sure he continued to pay for everything while I rebuilt my life. I used that time wisely. Over these past few months, I've not only lost the pregnancy weight and gained back my confidence, but I've also been attending therapy to process everything I went through. Most importantly, I found a job that allows me to support myself and take care of my baby. I can honestly say that I'm now the best version of myself, stronger, wiser, and more independent than I've ever been. But it wasn't easy. My ex did everything he could to drag me down. When he saw me losing weight and growing more confident, he became increasingly jealous and insecure. He even started following me to the gym, trying to see if I was talking to any men there. He'd constantly demand that I share my location, and if I dressed nicely when we went out, he would get upset or suspicious. His behavior grew more controlling by the day. Still, I stayed quiet and focused. I kept my head down and played along, all while saving money, planning, and preparing for the day I could finally walk away for good. Then one day, things took a turn for the worse. Out of nowhere, my ex started talking about wanting another child. I was completely taken aback. This is the same man who didn't even want our first child, who refused to support me during pregnancy, who belittled me, ignored my pain, and made those months some of the hardest of my life. And now, suddenly, he wanted another baby? He began pressuring me, saying that our daughter deserved a sibling and that it was my responsibility to give him another child. He even told me I should stop going to the gym and start focusing on getting pregnant again. That was it for me. That was the moment I knew, without a doubt, I had to get out of this marriage quickly. I had already spoken to a lawyer and started making quiet preparations. So I made my move silently while he was at work. I packed up what I could and left with my baby. Before I walked out the door, I placed the divorce papers on the table for him to find when he got home. When he returned and saw them, he completely lost control. He called me over and over, furiously shouting through the phone and leaving me a string of abusive and threatening messages. He said awful things, things no woman should ever have to hear, especially from someone they once trusted. One of the most terrifying things he said was that he would take my child away from me. He threatened to fight me in court, to make my life miserable, and to do whatever it took to punish me for leaving. But I didn't care. I know my rights and I will never let him manipulate me ever again. I wasn't going to be intimidated back into silence. Currently, I'm staying with my parents while they help me search for a place of my own. What's disturbing is that almost every night, my ex has shown up at my parents' house, standing on the doorstep and demanding to speak to me. Sometimes he bangs on the door, sometimes he just waits in his car, trying to pressure me into coming out. It's been relentless and deeply unsettling. Thankfully, my parents have been incredibly supportive. They've made it very clear to him, in no uncertain terms, that he is not welcome here and that he needs to back off. They've told him that if he wants to communicate with me, it must be done through our lawyers and nothing else. No more phone calls, no more surprise visits, no more attempts to manipulate or intimidate me face to face. It hasn't been easy, but I'm staying strong. There's still a long road ahead, but I finally feel like I'm doing what's right for me and for my daughter. Update 4, my ex-mother-in-law has been reaching out and begging me to take my ex back. She's admitted that she knows her son can be a bit immature and difficult, but insists that I'm the only one who can change him, that somehow it's my job to turn him into a better man. She's even gone so far as to say that my daughter will grow up to hate me because I'm the one breaking up the family for no real reason. I've listened, but I don't accept that narrative. I'm not responsible for fixing a grown man who refuses to take accountability for his actions. I tried. I stayed. I gave him every chance, and in return, I was treated with disrespect, manipulation, and emotional neglect. Walking away isn't breaking a family, it's protecting myself and my daughter from a toxic environment. If anything, I hope my daughter grows up and sees this decision as one of strength. I want my daughter to know that love should never come at the cost of your dignity, your voice, or your well-being. Meanwhile, my ex is still furious that I've chosen to leave him. He's been calling me things like inconsiderate, selfish, and even a gold digger, claiming that I'm divorcing him after he supposedly did everything right. In his eyes, I left him out of nowhere and am acting this way only because I've been hormonal ever since I got pregnant, as if my decisions are irrational or temporary. But I know the truth. I know how long I stayed silent, how much I endured, and how hard I worked to regain my strength before finally making this decision. I'm not interested in defending myself to someone who refuses to see the damage he caused or take responsibility for it. So, I've said nothing to him. I haven't responded to his accusations at all, and I don't plan to. I've given him more than enough of my time and energy, I'm not giving him my peace too. Update 5, it's been a few months now and my divorce has just been finalized. The process has been very difficult, but my lawyer fought tooth and nail to make sure I got primary custody of our daughter. My ex and his lawyer threw every possible false accusation at me. They claimed I was depressed, that I was a drunk, and even that I was cheating on him. At one point, my ex went as far as presenting photoshopped evidence, trying to fool the judge. But, thankfully, the court saw through it, and he was called out for fabricating lies. During this time, I have started seeing someone new, a family friend, and my ex has been pissed about that since he found out. He did try to use this against me in court to get primary custody, even though he has never once taken care of our child on his own. Thankfully, the judge didn't give any weight to his claims. The judge recognized that I'm the one who has been fully caring for our daughter since her birth. During the divorce proceedings, I also presented evidence to the court of my ex showing up uninvited at my parents' house and harassing me. Because of this, he has been officially warned to stay away from me unless it's about matters concerning our child. If my ex continues, I will not hesitate to get a restraining order against him. So, for now, my ex has visitation rights, with child custody arranged for my child every month, but I have full primary custody. This means I am the main caregiver, and my daughter's well-being is my priority. A few weeks before the divorce was finalized, my ex-mother-in-law made one last desperate attempt to stop everything. She actually showed up at my parents' house to try and convince them to get me to drop the divorce. She tried to strong-arm my parents, even going so far as to call me a bad daughter and blame them for raising me that way. It was shocking and completely disrespectful. But my parents didn't take her words lightly. My mother stood her ground firmly and told her that it's not their daughter who's the problem, it's the way she raised her own son. My mother said, "A good mother raises a good son who respects and supports his wife, not one who belittles and abandons her in her time of need." My dad made it clear that our family would not be intimidated or blamed for someone else's failures. That confrontation made it clear just how toxic this whole situation had been. It also reminded me how lucky I am to have parents who stand by me, who see the truth, and who protect me. Their support has been a crucial part of getting through everything and starting fresh. Even though this chapter has been very challenging, I'm proud of the way I stood up for myself and my daughter. I've found a place of my own where me and my daughter feel safe and comfortable. I'm working a job that I enjoy and that helps me take care of us. It's been good for me to have that independence and routine. My new man also treats me well and makes me feel respected and cared for. My daughter feels safer too. We don't have to walk on eggshells anymore, scared of upsetting someone. There's much more peace in our home, and it makes such a difference for both of us. My parents help out a lot, and I am very, very grateful for them.